Okay, guys. Let me. What if I want to do this also on Instagram? So you guys are here at the school, so you may hear classrooms. Kind of multitask today. Today is like a half school, half business, half doing things as well for here today. So I wanted to get this content because I filmed a video and I just there's a lot of content I feel like I missed out on that I wanted to cover. So I was like, you know what? Sometimes it's best if I just go live and do it as a training live versus the pre-recorded. And I was promising this video, so I wanted to get it done and out on the channel. So first of all, hello to everyone. I'm going to introduce myself in a second. Today's festive wear is here's my outfit so you guys can see the full shebang look. This is my skirt. I have my elf hat. So shout out to Spencer's for this skirt. I have epic Christmas outfits this year, so I'm really excited to go full out. I still have not found my winning outfit. Last year I had a tree. 2 years ago I had a tree, so we're gonna see if I can beat that. I'm thinking about maybe, I don't know, being an ultimate elf or something. But right now today is the elf ears. Black in the other ear. There we go. Okay, cool. They don't have African American ears, but I'll take these colored ears for right now. So, hello everyone. Today we're talking about today's topic is niche-based planners and journals. I have main nuggets I want to touch on. This is going to be a great training in my opinion. I think this is going to really help you guys. It's so funny because this probably should be a video where I'm not in any themed outfit because I feel like anyone's going to watch this video at any point in the year. So today we're going to be doing an elf ears. So hello to everyone. I want to introduce myself and my company and what we do and why this topic is so important. Again, I am filming here at the school, so you may hear kids because all the classrooms are that way. But my name is Joseph Dorsey, and I'm the owner of Glam Print Go, where we specialize in working with female entrepreneurs who want to launch their planner or journal concepts or companies. And I've had the awesome pleasure to work with some amazing clients. And I use my YouTube channel, which is called Print School, which is under the company Glam Print Go. And what we do at Print School is we offer planner and journal and print on demand and just business content that helps women in the planner journal space, or for women who are looking to sell their knowledge online and packaging it through niche-based products like planners, journals, workbooks, courses. And so that's what I do on my YouTube channel. We are, let me check to see where we're at subscribers. I have been so focused on getting our new course out there and our workbooks for Print School that I haven't even seen where we are with subscribers, because I want to welcome all the new faces. If you're new to the channel, hello. We are currently, oh, I want to show you guys my screen because I want you guys to see what I'm looking at. Guys, I want to show you. I'm about to cry. Okay, I'm going to show you guys my screen. You guys can see what I'm seeing because there's a number that we just hit. You guys ready to see what I'm seeing? You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? What is that number? Does anyone see that number? What is that number? What is that number? It's 11,000. It's 11,000. It's 11,000. It's 11. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to cry. This is huge. We said that we were going to hit this number in the next couple of days. And guys, we hit it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's dive into today's content before I cry. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. We hit 11,000. We hit 11,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me calm down. Let's dive into this content. Okay. So, yes. That's why I need to keep on bringing great content, because I've been lazy. So let's go dive into this content. If you're watching today's broadcast and you have questions, we're going to save the Q&A at the end. But guess what? I don't want you to forget your question. So if you have it could be a question about anything concerning planners and journals, type in the comments. For instance, Bernadette, she's watching via Facebook. She provided her question. So if you have any questions, type them in the comments, because I'm going to see them here on StreamYard, and I will answer them at the end. Okay. I'm going to first give you what I came to give you as far as the content, and then we're going to do a Q&A at the end, okay? So I'm going to spend about 20 minutes to be really quick about the 5 keys to niche-based planners. The reason why I want to do this video is because I want to share with you what's happening in the planner journal business model. Okay, there's many ways to approach producing a planner and journal company, and one of the things I teach in LOAB, and also too just content in general, is knowing what kind of business you are actually launching. And that's why at Print School I focus really heavily on the business side, because you aren't just launching a planner or journal, right? And that needs to fall under a business model. Okay, this is not a hobby. This channel is not about creating planner journals as hobbies. It's about creating as a business. So when you do that, you have to also understand the market and like where the market is going. And as a small business owner, you have to always think about the small business perspective, because just launching a regular planner or journal with like blank pages, I get that. I think that's cool. You know, it's awesome, but it doesn't really form a company unless you have like unique artwork that's yours on the cover. That's different. Like if you're an artist that sells your artwork through like, you know, planners and journals with like your artwork on it, that's one thing. But most people, they're not artists, right? They have concepts. And when you look at launching a planner journal business, niche-based planners and journals are where small businesses are winning, because generic planners and journals are kind of dominated by the day designer, the happy planner, you know, the what's called the simplified living, you know, where it's their layouts, they're pretty generic, but because they have mass reach and because they're dominating those spaces, for you to emerge with a very similar concept is just not a winning idea, because it's not unique, right? And so the space where small business owners are winning within planners and journals is creating a niche-based content type of planner and journal. So let me explain. So the clients that come to me through Glam Print Go, which is our planner and journal company, where I work one-on-one and do consulting, design, and help with the manufacturing for my clients, these planners and journals, the clients that are coming to me have niche-based ideas, because that's the only thing I'm working with at this point, because that's where you're going to win. So niche-based, if you're not familiar with what niche means, is that you're focusing on a particular segment of the market. And with planners and journals, you're focusing on a particular topic, right? So for instance, and I talk about this all the time, and I love using these ideas because I think everyone can understand them. So for instance, instead of you launching just a planner journal, let's say you launch a first year mom's planner journal, right? Or planner or journal, right? So let's say you do a first year mom's planner, right? That is a niche-based planner because it's not made for everyone. It's made for a particular segment of the market. So number one, it makes it easier for you to find your target customer because it's such a niche, right? Number two, it helps you meet a particular need and meet a solution, which again, as a small business owner, you don't want to come in and your competition is day designer, happy planner, you know, day at a glance, regular planners that you get from Staples, because it's just so generic. So you need your idea to be a lot more specified so that you can do things like run ads, right, on it. You can do certain things where you're meeting a particular segment of the market. So like first year moms, right? Let's say, for instance, you are a chef and you do a chef's planner, right? Let's say, for instance, you are a teacher and you decide that you want to do a journal for teachers to kind of have mental health, you know, kind of like releasing, you know, their goals and dreams as a teacher and the impact on the classroom. Let's say, for instance, you're a professor and you want to do a journal for first year college students. So, you know, as a professor working in the college arena, you've seen the stress load that first year or the anxiety that you know, first year college students have, and you wanted to create a journal that helps them kind of process their first year. My point is that you're creating products that are specified for a particular segment of market. And that's where people are winning. That is where people are winning. That's where small business owners. And so I think when I talk to small business owners, their ideas are not niched enough. And what ends up happening is that it won't break into the market like they think, because they think it's like a great idea. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's a great idea, but it needs to be a lot more specified so that you can speak to a particular, again, segment of the market. And so I'm going to go through 5 tips for niche-based planners. So if you're ready, let me know in the comments. Say, hey, I'm ready, Genesis. Like, I'm ready to roll. Like, tell me what these 5 things are. I just want to make sure that you guys are, you know, that I'm plugging in the right content. So again, if you are ready to get these 5 things, let me know. We're going to go through, they're not just tips, but they're really great points that I have gathered over this past year. And then with COVID, especially, even though someone may watch this video like 3 years down the road and we're no longer with COVID, but the point is that What COVID has done, and that it has put a permanent mark in our e-commerce system, is that COVID has sped up what was about to take us 2 to 3 years. COVID has sped us up in 1 year. And if you don't understand where e-commerce is going, the way that we have now become so dependent upon technology and our shopping habits have been changed, the way that you approach the market as a business owner, you just can't do what you used to do. Right? You now do have to depend upon paid advertising. You now have to build an audience. There wasn't like now, for instance, you can't go out to like an exhibition or a conference and go sell your planners and journals right now, right? And who knows, the future of how even we do events may change. You know what I mean? So this is one of those things where you have to do things differently, okay? So the first thing I want to give you guys for niche-based planners is that the brand has to either focus. It's really important. Your brand, your planner journal or your business brand has to either focus on the niche that you are focusing in on with your planners and journals, or it has to be a stationary lifestyle brand that specializes in planners and journals. So you have to know your company's focus. Let me explain this, for instance. If I am a chef and I launch a chef's planner, right, then that planner idea makes sense because I'm a chef brand. Right. And I meet a lot of clients and they have all these different like ideas for journals and planners. Like, oh, I want to do a planner on this topic. I want to do a planner on this topic. And while that is commendable, you have to think about what is your business about, because your products need to make sense under what the company's mission is. Right. And so you have to first know what is your mission, because your planners journals should fall under the mission. You should not do these random like style. And there's actually companies that do this, but I'm going to show you why that you're not that company. Okay. So you need to first figure out, as if I'm going to produce a niche-based planner journal, it needs to be within the niche of my expertise. It needs to be the niche of my business and what we do. Right. So for instance, I could launch a journal for fashionistas, but fashion is not my niche focus of my brands or companies. So while that may be a great idea, it doesn't make sense. Give me 1 second, guys. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? For like what our mission is about. So that's like really confusing. So, you really want to stay within your vein of genius. That's why I tell people, stay within your vein of genius. Okay. The other thing is that you could do various topics of planners and journals if you are a stationary company. Okay. So if you're not planning on being a stationary company, then you really should not be doing random topics. So like, for instance, you could be a company that produces planners and journals of different topics that fit a particular mission. So like you could produce a fashion journal, and then maybe you produce a journal for like fitness gurus, and then you produce a journal because maybe you're a stationary company. But if you're not going to be a stationary company, which most of you are not doing, then don't do the random topic-based planners and journals. Stay within your vein of genius. Now, if you want to be a stationary company, then you can do various things, right? Then that makes sense. So you have to figure out what kind of company you have. And that is a great, if I had to give advice for anyone wanting to launch planners and journals, I always ask them, like, what is your company about? Is this going to be a company? Is this just an idea, right? Like these are things you want to first think about before you launch your planner journal, because technically your planner and journal falls underneath a company mission, which we talk about in LOAB, Launch on a Budget, right? Which is for those of you launching print on demand, low cost projects, right? Like those are things we have to think about, because these products fall under a mission. They're not these standalone ideas that we have and we just put out into the universe. They have to come under something. So you need to first make sure, like, are you a niche-based brand? Like for instance, Print School. Print School is about helping women launch planner and journal businesses and planner journal concepts. That's what we specialize in. So the content that we produce, the products that we produce, like for instance, the Print on a Budget workbook that we changed from the My $500 workbook, that is for women launching planner journal concepts. Our products fit our mission. So you want to make sure that that's what you're doing. Okay, so what's your company focus? That's the first thing. The second thing is that a niche-based planner must have a set goal. Y'all ready to talk about this? Okay. So what makes niche-based planners and journals effective is that they help someone meet a goal. And a big error that sometimes we make as the creators of planners and journals is that you are not thinking about your customer, you're thinking about you. And you can start off thinking about you, but if you're selling it to somebody else, you have to end it with the consumer. Does that make sense, guys? So for instance, let's go back to our ideas of a niche-based plan. Remember, niche-based is like feeding a particular segment of the market. So let's say, for instance, I'm focusing on the first year college students journal. Let's say I'm a professor who's been in academia for like a whole, like say 20, 30 years. And I've watched, let's say I've been or maybe a dean of students or something like that. And so I've watched first year students go through this process all the time. And especially during COVID, I really want to help first year students really kind of get their feet in the ground. So I want to create a journal that helps first year students kind of release their emotions, connect with who they are, figure out where they are on their path of college, right? So I need to ask myself for this journal that I want to create. Again, this is just an idea. I'm not actually doing this. I'm just showing you an example. What do I want them to experience through this journal? What is it that by the end of this journal that they should have accomplished? Same thing for a planner. A planner is, if you want to have a generic planner, go get one of Staples. If you want to make one for consumers that is niche, what does this planner do that another planner can't? That's a good question to ask, because everyone thinks that their ideas are genius. And then I ask them, well, what is this planner doing that no one else can? Because otherwise it's just a planner that looks cute. And, you may have your first year journal for college students, but I mean, really what makes this idea set apart? Because if there's nothing in it that sets it apart, it's just a regular product. And this is the conversation, unfortunately, we have to have in business, right? Like I tell my clients all the time, like what makes it special? Well, it has this and has that. Yeah, but another planner has that. And it has that. What makes this so special? Why is it so special? Right? Because in our heads, we think it's special because we made it. But for the consumer, they're going to start comparing your planner and journal with someone else's. I was looking at, I'm actually going to be bringing some of these planner company owners onto the channel so you guys can really hear from like planners that are blowing up online. And you guys can, hear from their first, right from their word, right from their mouth. Because I was looking at one particular owner, they were running Facebook ads. And the planner was selling for $60. Beautiful planner, high-end luxury planner, selling for $60 was definitely for a niche-based market. It was for faith-based African-American women. It was a planner. It was an awesome, beautiful planner. And when you looked at the comments in the ad, right, that they were running on Facebook, some of the commentary was really interesting because people were comparing it to other planners that they had to see is this worth the value? Like, oh, okay, he has this and that. And what ended up being the selling point, was that it met particular needs. Like the way they were marketing the planner, they were marketing certain needs that certain women had, right? So it was kind of feeding certain results that certain women wanted to have from them using a planner. Because when you think about a planner, it has a calendar, weekly layout. Outside of that, what makes it special? You have to add content to it. You have to add stuff in it that makes it special. So that's why we always ask that second thing, which is, what is the set goal that needs to be met? What is the content inside of it, right, that really makes it set apart, right? So the number 3 tip is it needs to have daily, weekly, or monthly prompts, questions, or layouts that help them to meet that end goal, which we kind of just touched on. So number 1 was, what is your company's focus? Is this a niche-based brand? Is it a stationary company? Because when you're launching a niche-based planner or journal, it needs to be organized. And what kind of company is this? Number 2, it needs to have a set goal. So by your customers buying this product, they're going to experience X, Y, and Z. Number 3 is it needs to have daily, weekly, or monthly prompts, questions, layouts, something that makes it unique. And that's where you have to put your knowledge and expertise into this, right? When you're selling niche-based planners and journals, what makes that planner journal set apart is actually the stuff that you're putting into it. It's your expertise. And that's where you cannot be afraid to show off your expertise. You cannot be afraid to put in content that you've written, not that is pulled from someone else. You can put quotes in it all day from other people, but you got to put your expertise into it, right? So based on your expertise, what should the layout be? What kind of content, what kind of writings do you want to put in to educate your audience, to encourage your audience? So this is where you have to put your content. And sometimes what I see is that a lot of my subscribers, they want to make their own planners and journals, but they don't want to put their own writings inside, right? Like they want to I'm going to put a planner and I'm going to put a journal in there. I'm going to put this in there, put that in there. But what about your own content? Like I want your writings in there. I want you to write. I want you to write. Yes, write. And I cannot tell you how many clients I've had where like they didn't want to write. They were like, just give me like a planner, like give me this layout here, and then I want you to do like a calendar over here. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I want you to write though. I want you to write, because that's what makes your content proprietary. Let's just be honest. If you put a planner journal layout in there, what makes that unique? Like literally, like what makes that unique? Everyone has a planner, everyone has a journal, everyone has basic prompts and questions that you can find in someone else's, guided journal, right? But where's your content that you've written that makes this your planner journal? Where is the proprietary content, right? Because that's when we talk about like where, I'm creating a product that no one else can create. Well, that comes from you creating proprietary content. Give me 1 second, hold on. This is what happens when I'm like streaming at the business. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, guys. So hold on, let me put this back in here. So, like I said before, you need proprietary content. So you cannot be afraid to write. You cannot be afraid to put your expertise on display, because that is what you have to make something yours. Having content, having things that specialize it as like your brand voice, your brand mission, the value of you producing this planner and journal. Does that make sense? So again, number 3 is having daily, weekly, or monthly prompts, questions, or layouts that help meet that end goal. So let's say, for instance, a perfect example, this is like the ideation phase. This is what takes up most of the time for my clients, because we have to like think about stuff, right? So ideation, we have to ask questions like, if I'm creating a journal that helps, let's go back to this first year college students to really get through their first year, what are the challenges that first year college students are facing? Not the challenge that even because let's say, for instance, you've been in college, you've been in the academic world for 20, 30 years, right? Okay. But if you're selling this to a 2020 audience, you need to make sure that you're collecting information from current college students about what are the challenges that they're facing, because you may see something, but then you also need to ask your audience, okay, what are you facing? What are the things that you feel like you need to release, right? I may need to ask the question, for instance, hey, Ida, I may need to ask the question of, are there certain layouts within this journal that would help them to achieve X, Y, and Z, right? Are there certain activities or prompts that would help them, right? How am I phasing out the content? Like in ideation, one of the things that I'm always focused on for my clients are, do these sections go in order? Does it flow, right? Because when you're doing a niche-based planner, there's a lot of stuff that you could cover. Do we need to cover it all? Do we need to release another planner and journal down the road so that we're not putting too much information inside? These are the things you have to think about when you're creating a niche-based planner journal, because I could say for my first year, let's say, again, I'm a college professor and I'm doing the first year college students journal. I could be like, oh man, I have 500 prompts, but do I need to put all 500 prompts in there? Maybe this is the first version and we come up with the second version down the road. Maybe the goal of this first year is for them to achieve A and B. And then maybe we have another journal that comes out that does C and D, right? So you have to, that's why like one of the things I wish, and again, I'm working on redoing my starting your prayer journal business, right? That the video that like everyone loves, because there are so many things I wish I would have done before I even did the second version. Because now that I'm the owner of a planner journal company where we're producing these for clients, I have seen so much now that I would have never seen if I wasn't on the business side of it, right? So like, as a perfect example for the niche-based world of like prayer journals, I wish I would have made mine more innovative. Like, even though it was cute, it was great, and even though it met a certain niche, I should have niched it down even more. I should have put in certain layouts, because now like everyone's prayer journals pretty much look the same. And so like, even now that I'm working with a client right now in a prayer journal, and like I'm making sure that her layout is not just generic, right? That it doesn't look like just a regular prayer journal, because you can buy prayer journals everywhere and they all look the same. They all look the same. They all have prayer requests, box here, box there, line pages. Like, there's nothing innovative. I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that, because I think that serves your audience. But if I really want to disrupt the prayer journal world, I can't do what everyone else is doing, right? You have to really sit back and think about, okay, this, and that. What needs, in my niche-based world, what needs is this product meeting that I'm not seeing already out there? Because that's sometimes what we're creating are just prettier versions of what already exists. And while that's cool and great, it's innovation that really separates you. It's the way that you do what you do that separates you. So again, you want to make sure that you have content in there that's unique. The fourth thing is that when you're doing a niche-based planner, the name needs to speak to the niche. The name needs to be clear. Sometimes we're trying to get so fancy with the name that the name doesn't even like speak to our audience, and they would walk right by it, or they'll scroll right by it because the name doesn't grab out to them. So when you're doing a niche-based planner or journal, do not overthink the name. Like if it's a planner for chefs or a journal for first-year college students, don't call it some odd name that like doesn't make any sense. Like, sometimes we try to be too deep. And sometimes what I've learned is that let the name of your company be deep if you want to go deep, but the name of your product needs to be clear. So if it's a first year journal for first college year students, I may call it the first year, my first year, or like my first year journal. And, it'll say for college students on it. Like, that's how basic the name is, because sometimes the name needs to be basic. Okay. It could be something where maybe you called it, college 101, or like, my first year survival journal, you know what I mean? And it says for college students, because sometimes, again, what I'm seeing in niche-based planners is that if it serves a particular market, they need to be able to clearly understand it on the cover. So don't make your name so super deep that you're just like, it has some like Greek Roman name, and that's the name for this, which connects to that and that. It's too much. It's too much. So if it's for first year moms, you may call it the first year moms planner, because that clearly says what is, but don't call it something so deep that it just like, no one can understand it. So make sure that when you're doing a niche-based planner journal, that the name clearly speaks to what it's about. It is better to start off basic and clear than for you to start off super deep, and you have to then educate your audience like 15 minutes long on like what it is, right? People do not have the time to be educated for a long period of time on your product. Some companies can do that, but with product-based businesses, we don't have that luxury. So you need to make sure that your title clearly speaks of like on the cover of what it actually is. Does that make sense? And it speaks specifically to what it is. Okay. The fifth point is that remember that when it comes to certain brands within the niche-based space, that you need to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to larger brands. And the reason why I say this is because I was at Staples the other day, and one of my favorite brands, wholesale brands, is called Ecolo, and I bring them up a lot. But Ecolo, they make, and I think I mentioned this in my last video, but they make planners and journals for wholesale distribution. So you actually cannot buy the planners, unless they've changed this. You can't buy it off their website, right? You actually have to buy it through one of their distributors, which is like, will be Staples, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, And so at Staples, they have a distribution deal with Staples where you can buy, like they have like a workout journal. Then they had like a gratitude journal. Like they had all these different types of journals that fit all different types of niches, right? But they can do that because they're not a planner and journal company that fits like a particular niche. They are a wholesale printing company that sells planners and journals to wholesale distribution, like through wholesale distribution. And so you have to make sure that you understand that like those people are not your competition. I talk about this all the time. When you're doing niche-based planners and journals, your competition is not who is in Staples. It's not who is in Target. It is not who is in, who has like, a publishing deal with Barnes and Nobles. Because unless you have that distribution, unless you have those logistics, you can never compare yourself to those people because you can't compare your price points because you don't have the ways to cut prices like they do. So this is why I always tell people when you're doing niche-based planners and journals, you cannot sell yours for $9.99, especially if it costs you $5 to print it, right? You have to learn that when you're in the niche-based market, you have to price yours at a profitable price and you cannot compare. When you're doing a niche-based planner journal, you cannot compare yours to another fitness journal that you saw out here where they have like $200,000 in capital to get started and you were out here with like $10 to get started, So when you're doing a niche-based planner journal, sometimes we look at companies like, oh, they launched this planner, they have like this kind of journal. Remember, when you're a small business, you do not have that same advantage. So you have to be smarter. That goes back to point number one, which is that if I were a small business and I was launching a planner journal company, and I didn't have a lot of money, I would focus on a niche and building a brand off of a niche. So like if I, for instance, was a professor and I wanted to launch a college journal, I would probably launch a brand for college students or for the educational world. And I would create planners and journals for that niche. I would not be a professor that created a planner journal for college students. I don't want to create a planner journal for like people in relationships, right? I wouldn't do that. I believe that when you launch a stationery company, I think you have to be very wise in how you operate that because you need to have diverse products. So if you don't have a large budget, I suggest you start off with a niche-based brand and then expand as you grow. If you want to start a stationery company, then you need to figure out what will be your niche within a stationery company. Do you want to launch a stationery company that focuses on, celebrating women and, empowering messages? So maybe you have, journals and planners that speak to the empowerment of women, right? Do you want to launch a stationery company that maybe reflects luxury-based products that serve a particular market, right? Niche-based products and businesses are winning for small business owners because a lot of times when you try to have a broader audience, you need to have more money and more products to feed that audience. As you get niched, not too niche, but as you get more niche, you're able to pierce the market much better as a small business owner. So those are my tips for niche-based planners because I feel like those are the things that that's the area of expertise. That's the arena that I believe planners and journals are going through as far as small business owners. Niche-based planners and journals are winning. Like literally whatever your area of expertise is, launching a planner journal around that expertise is the best way to go versus you just creating random planners and journal products that just come to your head because they have to all fall under a company. You know what I mean? So because you're launching a business. So those are my tips for planners and journals. If you have any questions of anything that we went over, please drop those questions in now because I want to cover those now. And I'm going to start with Bernadette's question, which is, do you recommend starting a planner and journal before building more of an email list? So I'm going to give you leave your question up. I'm going to give you where we are right now in e-commerce, where we are as far as product development and selling of those products that we develop. So you have to have an audience. That's where we're at. I used to be able to tell people that you can go out and you can sell to at conferences, you can, start selling in person. Where we are today, because of customer behavior and how we are being trained now due to COVID, and again, you may watch this video 2 years later, but let me tell you what COVID again has done permanently. COVID has permanently shifted technology so forward in less than a year that we as humans are now more dependent upon convenience than ever. And because of that, you have to have your platform built online now. It's like a requirement there, because again, it used to be where you could print products and then you could go to a conference or go to an event and start selling them in person, without having an email list, without having a community. You could just go out here and physically start selling them. Well, that's not how it is now. And so this is forcing, no matter what size business you have to build your list. This is where it's now a requirement to do paid advertising. And unfortunately, for people who don't have a lot of money, this is going to be a crossroads. And I hate that we're having this conversation, but because of tech driving this, and because of COVID, especially right now, they're not being in-person events like there used to be, large conferences where you can sell exhibitions. You're going to have to pay to play. You're going to have to build your email list. You're going to have to. And this is where having a knowledge-based or expert-based or brand-based focused platform is going to help you win. I'm going to tell you guys something. You can no longer be scattered in how you build your platform. You have to focus from this point out. Like it used to be where, again, physical events kind of gave people a way to cheat, kind of like go out here to start selling products. But this year has been the year where forevermore, if you are not focused, you will not build a successful e-commerce company. If you are not willing to invest in your company, invest in your business will not grow. And this is for every single business owner out here in the world. Because of where we are, you have to pay to play. You have to run ads to build your email list. You have to run ads to build your social media following. You have organic growth, but organic growth at this point, it is stretched thin because now everyone is online. Think about this. Anyone who was selling in person now has to depend upon online sales to make money, right? So guess what now is being saturated? The online market. So now you have to stand out from the crowd. You can no longer do crappy graphics and get away with it. Because now everything is now pushed online. You now have to bring your top A game. And it's no longer I don't have the money or I don't have the budget. You're going to figure out a way. I don't care if you grab your iPhone and you lay your stuff out on the floor and you spend 3 hours trying to shoot it the right way. This where we are right now in e-commerce in the market, it is you better be on your stuff because there's no more lazy playing around with how to build. You have to focus. It's going to take you time. You're going to have to build your email list. I've been trying to tell some e-commerce people lately because they still think that they can be on their lazy game and win in this season. Oh, no, you can't. You need to focus on setting up your email list. You need to focus on being consistent and drawing the email list. You need to figure out how to run ads. You need to make sure that when people come to your platform, that your stuff makes sense. It is time out for scattered thinking. If you want to sell nail polish, planners and journals, lipstick and waist trainers, it's no more. You can't do that anymore. You have to focus. You got to figure out, you have to either split those things up as separate companies or you need to figure out what the heck you're doing because this scattered thinking will not make you rich anymore. We used to think we could just do all this scattered stuff and people will accept it. No more. You now have to actually build a company. So you need to figure out what kind of planner journal business you have or what kind of brand you're building. You need to figure out your area of expertise. When I go to your social, it needs to speak and reflect that. When I go to your website, it needs to speak and reflect that. The branding needs to be together. I'm trying to tell people, get yourself together. So to answer your question, Bernadette, yes, you need to build a list because otherwise you're going to struggle up the hill. And I always talk about this. It is hard to sell to an empty room. And many people end up quitting on their ideas because they never built their audience, right? And so you really want to focus, as we talk about in Launch on a Budget. Who wants to share with us, guys, how many months? We talk about launching a planner journal idea. How many months do I recommend that you guys do? This is it's less than 12. What is the amount of months, especially if you're in launch LOAB? How many months do I tell you have? Because I don't tell you to launch in a month. I don't tell you to launch in 2 months. Does anyone know how many months do I tell you need to launch? Because in Launch on a Budget, I even tell you okay, you need to, yes, there you go, Bernadette, 6 months. That is the timeline. And if you have the My $500 Planner Journal, or if you bought the new version, which is called Pro on Budget, I give you a 6 month, how to lay it out. Because building your audience is going to take time. It also takes money because if you're going to run ads, you have to first build brand awareness, right? Yes. Yeah. Yes. You have to build brand awareness, right? And so a lot of times the first type of ads you should run are not even product ads. The first ads you should run in e-commerce are brand awareness ads for people to first connect and trust the brand. A lot of people want to just launch out and start running ads on their audience, just start running we're going to sell product. But yes, Ida, 6 months, correct. But that is not, yes, Roberta, 6 months, thank you. But that is not actually what you should do. You should first run a like campaign to first get your traction in, right? Then what you want to do is then start doing retargeting ads, right? So after you've built up your page, after you've built up your, I would be running Instagram and Facebook ads, right? If you're on Pinterest, you can run Pinterest ads. If you're on YouTube, you can run YouTube ads. For me, it's cheaper, I personally think, for Facebook and for Facebook and Instagram. And, you can run a $5 a day campaign, right? So you don't have to run every day, but like that means that for your business, if I run, let's say I have, $150. So for 30 days times $5, it's $150, right? So $150 budget per month to run a $5 a day campaign. And I would run that for about 3 months just doing likes, like just building up the page, but also to testing your ads. Cause you can't run the same ad for 3 months. You have to refresh. You may run 3 different versions of the ad, right? But the whole goal first is to build up your viewership and your following. Right? So you want to get your Facebook likes up to a certain amount, right? You want to get your Instagram followers up to a certain amount. But guess what? People follow a mission. So like if you put up a picture of your planner, and you're like, go follow us, we're launching the blah, blah planner. That should not be your first ad. Your first ad should be about the mission of your company. Like I would run a quote. That's the easiest way. I would run a quote that kind of summarized who we are as a company. So let's say, for instance, I was a first-year mom. We're launching, a first-year mom planner, right? But we're not going to let our audience first know about that. We're going to first just launch launch our brand. So let's say I put a funny quote about being a first-year mom, right? I would run that because that connects with the experience of our user base, that connects with the lifestyle, right? So you want to first build the lifestyle side of your brand before you launch a product, right? Because that's actually what connects the human to the brand, right? If I'm launching a first year, let's say I'm the professor launching a first year survival journal for college students, I would probably run a quote that college students, like a meme or something about college students that like they can connect to, that completely speaks to their experience. And then I would say, follow blah, blah account for lifestyle hacks and, and encouragement for first-year college students. That's what I would run. And I would run different types of memes, quotes, all about first-year college students, right? I would have content on our Instagram and Facebook that speaks to like life hacks for first-year college students, because I'm launching a first-year college student planner journal. Do you guys understand what I'm trying to put out? So that's what I would launch first to build up my audience. Then I would begin to market about the journal coming out after I've built up a healthy amount of followers, because otherwise I'm launching within an empty room. You want to fill up that empty room to, I would say, at least 500 is a good mark. Right. But more than that, you need emails. So it's not just your followers. You got to get those emails. So this is where running ads, then after I run ads to build the usership, then what I may do is I may run a freebie. Right. I may run like, here's my first year college students checklist, right? It's like a 1-sheeter freebie that goes to a landing page that's retargeting all those people who liked my Facebook page, like my Instagram. So now retargeting them, or maybe offering it to the same like audience, right? That then launches a freebie that they can download, but in exchange, I'm getting emails. And that's building up my email user base, right? For the journal I will then launch and sell to them as an upsell. Does that make sense? So like, this is the way we have to rethink how we're doing products, because when you run product ads are much more expensive than like campaigns. So when you decide that you actually want to run a product ad, because the cost to acquire your customer through ads, it's going to be expensive sometimes, especially if this is your first time running it. So that's why we do other types of ads first before we do product ads, so that by the time we get to product ads, we have a higher chance of them converting to actual sale, because we're retargeting audiences we've already interacted with. Does that make sense? So that goes back to answering Bernadette's question again. Would you recommend starting a planner journal before building more of an email list? No, I would build the community first, and then I would transition. Okay. Bernadette says, I feel like I resonate with so many areas: dual military mom, raising a blended family, and background social psychology, crisis counseling. The funny part about it is that you may feel like you resonate with so many areas, but there is one area that usually is your area of expertise. No one is a jack of all trades. There's always an area of expertise that you have that you're the most passionate about. I've rarely met people who are passionate on 100 about like multiple things. It may be like 90% and like 100%, like 80%, but whatever's like the highest percentage, right? That's what you want to roll with, because you want to do something that you're passionate about. Like for me, for instance, I've been a graphic designer for several years, but I found out that my passion was actually planners and journals. And it was so weird because I've spent my years doing websites, doing all sorts of things. But when I actually created my own planner and journal, and I was like, wait, like this is actually a business I'm going to learn more about, get more invested in, that ended up being my passion. Right? Because it actually falls into my passion of like helping women package their genius into products, right? Digital and physical products. So even though I like a lot of stuff, that's the thing that I'm passionate about. So even though you have a lot of experience, I think that your background in social psychology and crisis counseling, I think those two are going to mesh to feed a particular area of expertise that you have. And your experience as a dual military mom and raising a blended family will help to add more context and expertise and experience underneath the social psychology and crisis counseling, if that makes sense, right? But then the other thing too is that when you are creating content, you'll be able to resonate with dual military moms, right? You'll be able to resonate with people who have blended families. So it's kind of like these are connection. Your life is always a connection piece to your audience. It's just you have to figure out why and how. Right? So Ditch Fear TV says, what about reviving an old community list? Do it. I just would say that when you revive the old community list, you need to wake them back up in a nice way. I always think about this of waking up a bear. You don't rush up to a bear and say, you know what I mean? You don't say, hey, we're back. You know what I mean? You say, hey, we're back, but then you want to kind of slowly but surely walk them into what's happening now. So you want to provide a nice email that says, hey, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I just want to let you know about what's happening and what we're doing now here in 2020. The last time we spoke about but guess what? This is where we're pivoting to, and I'm so excited that you're on this email list. If you want to remain on this email list, definitely do. What I would do though too is I would actually send them to a new email list. So I would give them a link to click to join a new email list. Versus just like using that old batch, because what you don't want is where you get a whole bunch of unsubscribes, because that can like hurt your email account. So what I would do instead is I would give them like 2 weeks to join the new email list. I would send out one email and kind of send out like one last reminder and just say, hey, we're going to be deleting this email list, because you don't want to waste email lists. So what I do is I purge Print School's email list. I'm actually about to do a purge at the end of this year. So like the end of the quarter, because I don't believe in wasting email. So like if you haven't opened a Print School email in like 3 months, you are not going to list. Like I'm scrubbing you. So if you're watching this right now, you have not opened one of Print School's emails in 3 months and you want to still be on the email list, go find an email, just click it. Just open it, just for the sake, because for me, I use MailerLite and I pay for our emails. So I pay for every single subscriber. Well, technically it's like a range, but still I'm paying for it. So I don't want to pay for someone who's not opening up the email. So you actually need to delete those people. So even if you're reviving a new email list, purge every 3 months. Do not pay for people who do not want to listen to you. Purge every 3 months. It's different if you're like a large company and like you can have dead weight. But smaller businesses, we don't have money to have dead weight. You know what I mean? We're paying bills that larger companies are like water to them. You know what I mean? So yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions to today? Again, we did good before 8 minutes. So we covered again, today was about niche-based planners and journals. Guys, like I said before, hey, Monique, in this planner journal community world that we're doing, please make sure that you're feeding a particular audience. We're transitioning into a knowledge-based world. Planners and journals are now feeding particular topics versus generic. I think that there's always going to be a market for generic journals, always. But as a small business owner, you cannot approach the market the same unless you have like a real unique idea, which we said, for instance, like if you're an artist who you put your art on planners and journals that have like blank inside pages, that makes them unique. If you have unique covers that are different than others, that makes them unique. But other than that, For instance, guided journals have taken off. Anyone know what a guided journal is, where they have prompts inside? Those have really taken off. Guided journals have ballooned up in the planner journal world, but that's because people are now feeding parts of them. It used to be where with planner journals, people would buy a blank planner journal and they would just like release, like just write. And actually, I think a lot of us are journalers where we just release. But then now what's happening is that in our society, people are becoming more self-aware of parts of them. And now people are buying a financial planner for the financial part of them. Now people are buying a fitness journal for the fitness side of them. And it's funny because we can think about this even on the apps on your phone. There are apps that you have for particular parts of you. You don't just use one app for everything of you. You have different apps, and businesses are serving particular needs of you. For instance, for moms or for families or dads who don't want to cook, we now have subscription-based models like HelloFresh, Blue Apron, right? Where we have meal delivery services. We have people who do meal prep where you can buy pre-made meals, right? They get shipped to your door, right? So what we're seeing is that people are feeding, instead of just like doing everything as one person, companies are now splitting up parts of you and feeding each part of you, right? So this is where we're seeing it change. Now, again, there will always be a market for lined blank pages, for blank pages, for line pages. What I'm saying is that I believe that you will still be able, I believe that there's a huge market out there for low content journals and planners, right? Where you custom design covers and you just sell them like blank line pages, like blank pages or line pages, right? There's always a market for that. But I think if you enter that market, you have to have some kind of advantage, because I'm gonna tell you this. When it comes to building a company, right? Let's say, for instance, you wanted to get funding. Let's say you want an investor, right? And this is where many planner journal businesses fail. They don't have anything proprietary or unique about their company. There's nothing that makes them special. And so if I just slap up designs that I just create and like just put them out there and sell them, you can make money doing it. But if I want an investor, right, he or she would ask me, what is your value proposition? What makes your company unique? What's the strategy that you go about selling your products, right? Because if they invest in money, they want to get that money back, right? And so they want something that is brought into the market that makes what you do unique. Now, it would be different if I said, well, what we do is we work with designers in third world countries to create designs that we then place on our planners and journals. That is unique. Or we use paper that is made from you did like sustainable journals where like the materials that made them, were made from, some kind of thing, and maybe you have like a social justice thing tied to it. And, that's where we're going in our society. So that's why I teach on my channel about like not creating basic businesses, because if you ever seek to get like business grants or things like that, like you want to have a unique business model. You want to have a unique business offering of like product offering. So this is why I tell people like, people will give you money if you say, you know what, we are a company, and what we do is we offer products and services that help women who go through, who need to have emotional healing, right? So we create plans and journals that help women to reach their fullness and, wholeness within emotional healing. So we create, and I'm just making something up so you can kind of understand where I'm going with this. We create products, we create planners, journals, workbooks, books that help women to meet their whole goals, to become a holistic, healthy woman by discovering who their real self is. So we have unique journals, prompts, we have products that help each woman to figure out who they've been truly made to be so they can unlock their best potential. That sounds amazing versus, well, we create like lined and blank planner journals. No, let's reframe that as well. You could then say, well, we're a stationery company. Let me just like show you like how this talk is. We're a stationery company that we believe in empowering women through holistic emotional well-being. So what we do is we create blank lined and actually you wouldn't say blank. You would just say we create journals that women can write in. And what we do is our covers are very unique because our covers are, let's say, made by female artists, right? Female artists, and we joint collaborate to make these special releases, right? That sounds a lot better than like, well, I pull clip art from online and make it. Like that, like, so this is the thing, like we have to start thinking about like what really makes what we do unique. Like we got to really figure that out. And that's where like ideation comes into play. That's where you really want to start doing different things to experiment. So, hey, Ditch Fear, I'm so glad Chris created a guided journal after watching one of you. Oh, you have to email me. Some of you guys have emailed me to come on the channel. I've been like completely horrible about that. So Ditch Fear, email me at, I was supposed to have some of you guys come on the channel. Email me here. And I would love to bring you on the channel and schedule an interview so we can talk about your guided journal. And like after watching some of my content, like what did you do? What was your guided journal concept? Where can we buy it? So definitely shoot me that content so we can definitely do an interview here on the channel about that. Creative Life said every journal I picked up at Michael's yesterday was guided journals. Couldn't find one line. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. I went to where'd it go? I went to Barnes and Noble's. And there were a ton. I did find like regular stationary journals, but there were a ton of guided. I was shocked at how many are being created for every different type of topic. But it just shows you like how, like where we're going. People, there, of course, there's always be stationary like regular journals, but it is crazy on how many niche-based journals. That's why I did this video. There are a ton of niche-based journals. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have I answered all questions? I'm just gonna give 1 more minute to make sure we answered all questions, and then I'll let you guys go. The next video that is coming up will be this week. Actually, it may be tonight. I will see. Trisha Vaughn just purchased the physical and the digital version of the same thing. I have to make sure she meant to do that. The next video I'm doing is an unboxing. As I announced in my last video, I'm officially a planner addict. I've been a planner, like a regular basic planner. I've never been the kind of person that was like stickers and envelopes and like washi tape. Well, now I am. And so I'm going to be showing you guys where I purchased my recent finds for my physical planner. So we're doing an unboxing of that, just showing you guys how I'm going to organize my physical planner for the year. And then last but not least, this week I'll be emailing out those of you who are enrolled in Launch on a Budget, which is our online course that teaches amazing women, how to launch their own print-on-demand planner journal business. So for instance, if you are trying to launch your planner journal on a budget, right, that means that you're probably going to be using a self-publishing platform like Amazon KDP, Lulu, Spark, Vivante, one of those. And so that course teaches you how to do it from like building your community aspect to like doing pre-orders, going through your printers. And so I'm doing a private class for those who are enrolled in LOAB. If you're not enrolled in LOAB, you need to go to joinprintschool.com here and click on courses from the menu, and it will take you to Launch on a Budget. A Launch on a Budget is currently $197. It is worth every single penny, if not more. And so we are doing a course for this month. I was going to wait till next year, but we're going to do a course for this month. It's actually going to be on how to plan, get ready for this, how to plan your planner journal business for the entire year. This is going to be good. So this is actually for those of you, like once you've launched your planner and journal, how do you plan out a year of business, right? So we're going to be talking about how to plan out your whole year of business. Oh, Lori, I got your email. I will be responding this week. How to plan out your entire year of business. And so this is for those of you who, because one of the things I thought about for those of you in the course is when I launched my Royal Prayer Journal, one of the things that I did, but I don't think I've taught on this channel, which is why I'm doing the Launch on the Budget, is like once you launch, how do you plan out a whole year? And if you look at the Launch on a Budget module, the very last module, which is Launch Business, I give you guys a strategy on how to plan out your whole year. But I'm actually going to show you how to take what's in the Launch Community Workbook and how to actually do it. Like, how do we break out the quarters into the weeks, into like what kind of activity should we be thinking about for our first year business, which I cover in the module, but I'm actually going to show you how I would do it, plus changes I would make, especially during COVID and even post-COVID, because things are changing. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to give out the I'm going to give out if you're enrolled in launching a budget, you're going to get the email. If you're not enrolled, you want to invest because you get all of the modules that there are. It's 8 modules over 4 hours worth of content. It's 8 workbooks. I mean, this thing is like amazing. But the bonus is that anyone who's enrolled in launching a budget, you get quarterly classes for the next year. So it's up to a year. So I'm going to be doing a bonus one because technically you're going to get 4 for next year, but I'm going to be doing one this month. So technically you're going to get 5. So we're going to be doing one for this year. Okay, we're doing for this year. So that's going to be this month. It's going to be on how to plan out 2021. Or technically your first year, okay? So Monique Ginn, hope I'm saying this right. Oh, hopefully I'm not butchering your name. Hey, Monique, oh my God, do you guys see this profile picture of hers? Like, she is looking bomb with this bun and this shirt and this red lip. Okay. So she says maybe a guided type journal, can you believe? I tried to print journals at Office Depot and it was flat. Let me tell you something. I printed out do I have it? No, it's on the purse. I printed out a physical version of the print on a budget. Gwen. Okay, perfect. Gwen. Got it. Gwen. Monique Gwen. So I printed out a physical version at Staples of the print on the budget workbook. That's the physical workbook of it's the physical workbook of our My $500 Planner Journal. So the My $500 Planner Journal, just to clarify, the physical version is now called Print on Budget, which you can get in the Shopify store. Anyway, went to Staples to print one. As I told you guys, it cost me like $50 to print out one color copy, coil bound, $50. And meanwhile, I did it on Lulu and it only cost me like $6.82, which is why we do print on demand. So this is why you never go to like Staples, Office Depot, any regular like local printing company, because the price points are going to be astronomical for a low amount. So that's why we go through Lulu. Like Lulu coil bound was only $6.82, which is where I ordered all of them. So like for everyone who's bought the pre-order, the 50, because I'm only doing 50, I ordered 50 of them at $6.82. And then on top of that, Lulu had like a 30% off sale during Cyber Monday. So I got that minus 30% off. You're not going to get that at any local print shop, right? Unless you're doing like some epic amount. So I hope that this helped you guys. Again, if you're not a part of Launching a Budget, please go to joinprinceschool.com, click on the course and workbooks, because we have the trainings in there. You get all the trainings that are currently in there, all the workbooks, plus, and that's the thing, I talk about Lulu in there, plus the training for how to plan out next year for resources. And this training is not just for those launching journals or planners, but it's actually for anyone in the knowledge-based business. So like if you are selling your knowledge online as a coach, consultant, expert, lover of something, and you want to teach people how to obtain goals within that area of expertise, this is really what Print School is about. And that's kind of the overall mission, is to help women who want to create and help others to figure out how to put these creations in product, as a planner, a journal, a course, a membership, a workbook, a book, a coaching program, a consulting firm. Like these are all the things that I'm teaching you how to do, but I may be teaching you in different ways. So anyway, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I have a meeting shortly. So yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. Please, if you are not subscribed to the channel, we have now 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. 11,000. I'm so excited. So please join the Print School community. I would love to have you as a subscriber. I'd be truly honored to just have the chance just to help you on your amazing journey as you empower people. Like I just get that small chance. So definitely have that in there. Definitely subscribe. And outside of that, you can go join the email list here, which is joinprinceschool.com. If you scroll down the homepage, there is an email list that you can join. When you join the email list, you'll get all the emails that I send out to the Print School community. And then we're going to be doing the 12 days of Christmas. That's going to be a live stream-a-thon where it's every single day, there'll be a new piece of content going out, and there'll be a workbook, a free workbook for all subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that, please be a part of the email list. Again, we're doing 12 days as it leads up to Christmas. We start very soon because 12 days of Christmas starts really soon. So we're going to be doing 12 things to prepare for the next year. And actually, this will not just be on planners and journals. Actually, it's 12 ways to work on your business. So I will be having special guests. I will be having just myself, and I'll be teaching you different things. So we cover everything from marketing, social media, to talking about how to monetize your gifts. We'll be talking about everything from how to, one of the things that we're going to be talking about is how to launch your expertise online. We'll be talking about the benefits of certain social media platforms. It's going to be a lot of great things. So if you are not on that email list, again, you'll go to joinprinceschool.com, join the email list. I'm also going to be doing a video on how I built Prince School, because I've gotten that question a lot. Like Genesis, like, how did you monetize your YouTube? I've talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to be giving you guys a step-by-step, do this, do that, do this, right? Because you can monetize your YouTube channel from the beginning. And that was something I did not do until later on. And I wish I would have done it when I got started, but I just didn't know. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to monetize and how to give, but I'm going to give you the framework. So instead of just being a talking video, I'm going to say, download this workbook. Here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it? So if you want to get those freebies, again, join the email list here. Guys, it was a pleasure talking to you. Lori, who's my client, I know she was here on the stream. I'll be emailing you today. I don't think I saw anyone else on here that is Portia. Portia will be emailing. She's on here. Hey, Portia, I'll be emailing you today. I think that's it on here. See you guys later.